I was just here for the wedding feast during the holiday, but I never expected to stumble upon such major drama. The groom actually ditched the bride and ran off. And the craziest part? I got pushed onto the stage to save the situation, and in a moment of madness, I blurted out, "You won't marry her? I will. No matter what, this wedding has to happen today." It wasn't until after the whole ceremony, back in the room seeing the bride, that I realized this wasn't just saving the day. I totally screwed myself over. The bride's voice was lovely, tinged with a tipsy laziness from the alcohol. "What are you talking about, cousin? Oh, I get it. You like role-playing, right? Well, today is our wedding day, so I'll play along." "You brat. You've been lying around for all 7 days of the holiday. If I hadn't seen you playing on your phone, I'd have thought you were dead. Let me tell you, your paternal aunt's daughter is getting married tomorrow, and you have to be there to represent the family, or I'll beat you senseless when I get back." "Why aren't you going?" "Because your maternal aunt's daughter is also getting married tomorrow, and obviously, I have to help my own sister over an in-law." "Which aunt?" "I don't remember." Utterly unwilling, I rolled over angrily and went back to my phone. "How many aunts do you have, don't you know? It's that one. You stayed at their place when you were little, always tricking their young daughter into following you around, causing trouble. Remember? You got caught, and the poor girl cried for ages. You just ran off without even apologizing and got a good thrashing from me when you got back. Ring a bell now." Hearing Mom bring that up nearly made me die of embarrassment right there on the bed. Some memories are best left buried. There was no way I was going now. "I'm not going. I'll just send a red envelope. It's the thought that counts. I'd rather." "Hey, what are you doing?" "Ouch, huh? You rascal." Mom yanked my blanket off, exasperated. "Look at the state of you. You've practically degenerated from lying around so much. Tomorrow, you're going whether you like it or not. Otherwise, just you wait until I get back." She made a hitting motion. I instinctively ducked my head, pouting reluctantly. "Fine, but I'm only responsible for eating. Nothing else is my problem." Hiv hiv. Just as she was leaving my room, I heard her chuckle softly. My internal alarms instantly went off. Knowing her, there had to be a scheme involved. Why else would she look like her cunning plan had succeeded? I quickly sat up and called her back. "Mom, have you plotted something with them to set me up?" "You little brat. What are you saying? I'm your mother. Would I harm you?" She was instantly displeased by my words, glaring back irritably before starting her lecture again. "If you showed even a little promise, would Mom have to resort to this? Look at your buddies, your childhood friends. Which one of them isn't married yet? So-and-so's mom is already holding her grandchild. And me? After working my fingers to the bone, raising you this big, you won't even find a girlfriend, just lying around at home all day?" Listening to her made my scalp tingle. Curse my big mouth. I wanted to slap myself. Why'd I have to ask? Now I felt uncomfortable all over. "Let me tell you, I've seen photos of the bridesmaids. They're all your cousin's best friends. Very reliable girls. You'd better be sharp, kid. Try to make a good impression. If you only focus on eating, see if I don't break your legs when I get back." "Did you hear me, you little punk?" With a final fierce glare that made me shudder, she scared me into submission. I couldn't talk back anymore and just nodded in agreement. Even though I didn't really want a girlfriend yet, I couldn't stand Mom's passive-aggressive nagging. Besides, it was just attending a wedding feast, going through the motions, not an actual blind date. I could just make up some excuse later to brush things off, couldn't I? That would be better than listening to her lectures here. And besides, what if I actually hit it off with one of the bridesmaids? Then wouldn't that be? Hit. The next day, before dawn even broke, my mom yanked me out of bed and spent ages fussing over my appearance. Anyone who knew would say I was going to a wedding banquet, but anyone who didn't might think I was the groom. Seriously, this was way over the top. "Son, remember to sweet-talk everyone. Try to make a good impression on the bridesmaids, or else I'll smack you one." Yeah, Mom, I know. She must have said it dozens of times since yesterday. If she cares so much, why doesn't she go herself? Ahem, of course, I didn't dare say that last part out loud. I grabbed a rideshare and quickly got to the address Mom gave me. Only then did I realize. The wedding reception was at a 5-star hotel. My cousin's side of things was just insane. They booked the entire 5-star hotel just to host their friends and family. Walking into the hotel, I felt like a country bumpkin visiting the city for the first time, completely stunned. The wedding banquet was buffet style. You could grab whatever you wanted, and it was all top-tier stuff. Boston lobsters and king crabs were piled high everywhere, like they were giving them away for free. And tons of other expensive seafood. And the decorations in the main lobby? Utterly, inhumanly extravagant. I barely know how to describe it. Countless roses were layered like waves, surrounding the entire lobby and converging into a stage made of flowers. Towers of champagne and red wine sparkled under the lights. And then there was the cake. It was terrifyingly huge. I fell silent. I felt the 500 yuan gift money Mom gave me in my pocket. If I gave just this, I'd definitely be laughed at as the poor relative. Gritting my teeth, I stamped my foot, dipped into my own wallet, and topped it up to 1888. Then I found a seat and prepared to dig in. Damn it, I absolutely have to eat my money's worth. As for those pretty bridesmaids, I haven't even tried Boston lobster or king crab before. Soon, the auspicious hour arrived. The wedding host walked onto the stage and announced the official start of the ceremony. First, let's welcome the groom to the stage. The groom was very handsome, with sharp, well-defined features and fair skin. His suit fit him perfectly too. Quite a few people gasped in admiration. What great charisma this groom has. Talk about a well-matched couple. Even I nodded in agreement. He looked pretty good. No wonder my cousin's side went all out for the banquet. Son, has the ceremony started? Seen the bridesmaids yet? If you like any of them, just ask your cousin. I already cleared it with her. Don't you screw things up. Just behave yourself, okay? Or else. Mom sent me a WeChat message, followed by a threatening emoji. My face fell, and I pursed my lips, not replying to her. And now, let's welcome the bride to the stage. As the host's voice faded, the song, We're Getting Married, started playing in the hall. The red banner with the she, double happiness. Character backstage was gently lifted, revealing a woman in a wedding dress and white veil walking out slowly. Although her face was veiled and indistinct, you could still tell she was a real beauty. Whoa, she's that beautiful. I couldn't sit still anymore. My cousin wasn't this stunning in my memory. Guess the old saying is true. A girl changes drastically as she grows up, becoming more beautiful. Talk about a talented groom and a beautiful bride. This was the perfect description. All the friends and family in the hall burst into enthusiastic applause, offering their sincerest blessings to the newlyweds. But maybe it was just my imagination, but the groom's smile seemed incredibly forced. He didn't even seem to properly look at his gorgeous, fairy-like bride. Groom, in this incredibly moving moment, do you take the woman before you to be your wife? Although the groom was still smiling, anyone could see how forced it was. The lively atmosphere gradually quieted. No, impossible. He's my man. He absolutely cannot marry you. Just as all the friends and family were waiting for the groom's answer, an untimely shout suddenly rang out. An uninvited guest burst in, ran straight onto the stage, and grabbed the groom's hand. Didn't you say that if I dared to crash this wedding, you'd dare to leave with me? Well, I did it, and I've thought it through. Let's elope. Seeing her, the groom's smile was no longer frozen. His face gradually flushed, and nodding vigorously with tears in his eyes, he said, Okay. You brat. How dare you? I'll break your legs. This scene almost made the groom's father choke with rage. I'm cutting off all your cards. Eloping? Go starve. You'll be the death of me. This put the groom in a tough spot. He clenched his jaw, his eyes darting between her, the bride, and his father. The woman who'd crashed the wedding grabbed the groom's hands, gazing deeply into his eyes. I like you. I love you, not your family's money. As long as you're with me, I don't care if we end up homeless, eating garbage off the street. I won't regret it. That line struck the groom right in the heart. The uncertainty on his face vanished instantly. He gripped her hand back and looked at his father, who was now panting heavily with fury, with eyes full of defiance and resolve. Dad, I won't be a puppet in an arranged marriage. I want to pursue my love. I want to live my own life. With that, he pulled the woman along and, in front of all their friends and family, quickly strode out of the hotel lobby adorned with double happiness symbols. Holy crap. Seeing this, I slapped my thigh hard. It blew my mind. The banquet hadn't even started, and we got served this major drama, a wedding crashing. This is too outrageous. Let me be clear. I don't mean to judge by appearances. The woman who ran in and snatched the groom wasn't gorgeous, but you could tell she was just an ordinary person from her clothes and style. Compared to my cousin, Zhang Wanjun, who's as beautiful as a swan, there's just no comparison. Did the groom get his head slammed in a door? What was he thinking? Ungrateful son. Ungrateful son. Ugh. As soon as the groom ran off, his father couldn't catch his breath and fainted. He was quickly sent to the hospital. After something like this happened, relatives from both the bride's and groom's sides felt too embarrassed to stay. The remaining guests started gossiping, saying nasty things, and immediately shifted the blame onto the bride, Zhang Wanjun, who had barely reacted throughout the whole ordeal. It must be your Zhang Wanjun's fault. Otherwise, how could our Hua Zi do something like this? He must have been truly desperate to elope with another woman on his wedding day. What crap are you spewing? We watched Wanjun grow up. You think we don't know what she's like? At least the one crashing the wedding wasn't her someone. Why don't you say it was your brat who wronged our Wanjun first, abandoning her at the altar to run off with another woman? Good riddance. Lucky this traitor didn't become our son-in-law. It's definitely Zhang Wanjun's fault. Otherwise, why would our Hua Zi run off with another woman? She must have done something shady first, like that pre-wedding party, invited her ex-boyfriend, and then... Suddenly, someone delivered a slap. Watch your damn mouth. How could we have almost become in-laws with people like you? Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Instantly, the accusations from both sides grew fiercer, attacking and slandering each other. The problem, of course, was definitely not their child. Listening to their arguments and the escalating chaos, my breathing grew ragged. I started to get furious. Everybody shut the hell up. Recalling the few memories I had with my cousin from childhood, all the trouble I'd gotten into, she was almost always the one shielding me, protecting me. Now, it's my turn to protect her. I can't let her be humiliated. He won't marry her? I will. No matter what happens today, even if the sky falls. This wedding must go on. My voice boomed, cutting through the hall's chatter. Instantly, all eyes were on me. To make my performance more convincing, I pinched my thigh hard, enough to bring tears to my eyes. I've loved you for so long, seeing you about to marry another man. My world felt like it was ending. This unfortunate incident, it's something none of us wanted to see happen, but I believe this is fate giving me a chance. Miss Zhang Wanjun, could you possibly give me a chance to? I was painting myself as a simp who'd been pining for her forever. Perfect for this situation, right? As I spoke, I was desperately trying to signal her with my eyes. Come on, take the lifeline. At least save face and stop the gossip. However, I overestimated the understanding we had from childhood. You know, where I caused trouble, and she'd take the blame. She wasn't getting it at all. There was no response. She just stared blankly at me, seemingly trying to remember who I even was. Her confusion was palpable. Forget that for now, okay. Seeing everyone's expressions turn increasingly weird, I was completely frozen. My dear cousin, what are you just standing there gawking for? I'm trying to help you save face. Don't leave me hanging here. After today, we're probably going to be nailed to the pillar of shame, ridiculed by gossipy relatives at every holiday gathering. My mouth started twitching uncontrollably. The embarrassment hit me belatedly, and my eyes darted desperately around the floor. Where's a crack in the ground? Can the earth just swallow me whole already? Just let me die. Okay, let's get married. Daughter, you. Her parents below were stunned. They opened their mouths, wanting to say something, but ultimately, not a single word came out. Seeing the change in their expressions, I naturally interpreted it as them understanding I was helping smooth things over. As the saying goes, don't air your dirty laundry in public. At least, not in front of so many friends and relatives. Avoid the embarrassment, the gossip, the ridicule. Otherwise, how could they ever hold their heads high again? The wedding MC looked at me, slightly dazed, but with things having reached this point, he couldn't really object. The rest of the wedding proceeded as planned. Except, I was now the groom. Put the ring on the bride. He handed me the box. I opened it. Inside was a pea-sized diamond ring. My eyes nearly popped out. This thing must have cost a fortune. But I didn't screw up or make a fool of myself. Putting on a look of deep affection, I took the bride's hand and slipped the ring on her finger, adding at the end, I'm sorry it started like this. Later, I'll make it up to you with a wedding just for us, one without any more unpleasantness. Okay. Her reply was again just one word. Her face was hidden by a thin veil, so I couldn't see her expression, but I could tell she was genuinely beautiful. It's true what they say. A girl changes dramatically by 18. She looked nothing like the kid I remembered. If only she wasn't my cousin. It even made me feel a little shy and embarrassed. Things had snowballed far beyond my control. I'd originally just come for the wedding feast, looking forward to some drama about a runaway groom, but I never expected the drama to land on me, making me the new groom. Embracing the spirit of seeing the act through to the end, I accompanied the bride to toast the guest table by table. Relying on my thick skin and smooth tongue, I managed to charm them, making them chuckle and beam with approval. They showered me with thumbs-ups and praise, which actually made me feel quite awkward again. It seemed like they'd completely forgotten what had just happened. After going through the whole shebang and seeing off the last of the guests, a hotel attendant showed me back to my room. I was dog-tired, so I didn't care much about anything else and completely missed the fact that this was the bridal suite. I just flopped right onto the bed. It wasn't until I rolled over and saw the bride sitting there too that I broke out in a cold sweat, suddenly wide awake. My gaze was instantly drawn to her beautiful, curvaceous figure. I don't know if it was the alcohol or if I'm just naturally like this. But I actually gulped. No. What are you thinking? She's my cousin. This is completely out of line. I slapped myself hard across the face. What are you doing? My slap startled her. She pulled the blanket a little tighter, covering her stunning and impressive figure, looking at me warily. Ahem. I'm so sorry, cousin. With what happened today, there was really no other way. I could only. Cousin. She frowned at my words, her pretty face flushing slightly. I didn't realize you were into that sort of thing. You like role-playing, huh? All right then. You helped me out big time today, and I'm not one to forget a kindness. Just this once. By the end, her voice was barely a whisper, and her face was beet red. What are you talking about? I was completely bewildered. I understood every word she said individually, but put together, it made no sense. What role-playing? Her fiancé ditched her today. So did the shock make her lose her mind? No way. Just as my face paled and I started to worry about my cousin Zhang Wanju's insanity, Mom called. You little bastard. Are you looking for a death wish? Where the hell did you run off to today? Your aunt just called saying you never even showed up at the wedding banquet. You rascal. The moment the call connected, Mom launched into a tirade that left me completely stunned. But I am here. I'm still at the hotel right now. Still lying. You brat. Get your butt back here right now. We'll see if I don't break your legs. You're completely out of control. I just asked you to meet a few bridesmaids. Was it necessary to do this? It's your cousin's big day, for crying out loud. You. She got more and more worked up, making me super embarrassed. I mumbled something and quickly hung up. Otherwise, I'd never be able to show my face again. Meanwhile, the woman in front of me, seeing my predicament, started looking at me even more strangely. Impossible. Haven't I been at the hotel all day? How could you say I wasn't? Suddenly, a realization hit me, and my face changed drastically. My hands, clutching my phone, wouldn't stop shaking. I silently opened my WeChat chat history and saw the message Mom had sent me. I nearly fainted. The hotel I was supposed to go to was the M.O. Lee Granule Hotel, but the hotel I was in was the M.O. Lee Jasmine Hotel. The M.O. Lee Jasmine Hotel is a 5-star hotel in our city. That M.O. Lee Granule Hotel was just a cheap knockoff trying to piggyback on the name. They're completely different hotels. It wasn't just me. Even the driver got the name wrong and dropped me at the wrong place. Are you kidding me? Knowing the truth, my scalp tingled. This meant not only was I in the wrong place, eating at the wrong banquet, but the woman in front of me wasn't my cousin at all. And my actual cousin, also named Wanjun, her surname is pronounced Zhang, but it's a different Zhang character. How could it be such a coincidence? Holy crap. Well, my mom wants me home. I quietly got up, planning to bolt, only to find the door was locked from the outside. What's wrong? Are you scared of me? Zhang Wanjun was lying on her side on the bed, her pretty face flushed, slightly tipsy. I finally understood the look in her eyes. It was like a big bad wolf, eyeing a little bunny, and I was the bunny. My legs instantly turned to jelly. A misunderstanding. Cousin, no, Miss Wanjun, this is all a huge misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? What misunderstanding? Don't tell me. The vows you made to me were those lies. When you promised in front of my parents and relatives that you'd take care of me for life, was that a lie too? I don't want to hear your reasons or excuses, and I don't want any explanations. She said, her eyes starting to glisten with tears. What happened today was humiliating enough, and she had barely managed to hold herself together. Then someone had stepped up, shielding her, protecting her. Only to tell her now it was all a misunderstanding, and he was leaving. Well, she couldn't hold it back any longer. The dam of her pent-up emotions burst, overwhelmed by everything she'd suffered today. Even though there were no feelings for that man, even though the wedding was just an arranged marriage brokered by their families, she was still a woman. And facing something like this left her feeling utterly desperate and helpless. Don't cry. Hearing her words, I felt a pang of unease myself. That's why I'd stepped in to protect her in the first place. But I never, ever expected this. Not only was I in the completely wrong place, but the bride wasn't even my cousin. She was a total stranger. Don't go. Stay with me. I'm falling apart. Don't leave a woman when she needs you most. I wasn't sure how much she'd had to drink, but her tipsy state was surprisingly alluring. I suddenly felt flushed, my mouth going dry. Watching her, eyes brimming with tears and clearly distraught, she swayed unsteadily towards me and wrapped her arms around me. My heart ached for her, so I didn't push her away, but I kept my distance, careful not to take advantage of her vulnerability. Miss Zhang, please don't do this. Today was all a misunderstanding. The truth is... Chill. She silenced me, raising a slender finger to my lips. Her gaze was hazy, lost, mesmerizing as she looked at me. Our lips were mere centimeters apart. Her fragrance, soft and sweet, felt like feathers tickling my heart, making it itch. My breath quickened, becoming ragged. I felt myself losing control. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it was the charged atmosphere in the air. Neither of us seemed able to hold back anymore. I leaned forward just a fraction, and my lips brushed against hers. They were cool, soft, and sweet. She closed her tear-filled, hazy eyes, her hands instinctively wrapping around my neck. She pressed her lips firmly against mine for a moment before her body suddenly went slack. She'd actually fallen asleep in my arms. Just like that. Tear tracks still stained her cheeks. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. 1 second, I felt like a volcano on the verge of erupting. The next, it was like being caught in a sudden downpour. It didn't extinguish the fire completely, but it definitely dampened things. I couldn't take advantage of her, could I? Even though she was married today, we were still strangers. I couldn't do something like that. Holding the soft, yielding woman in my arms, I felt a mix of pity, helplessness, and even a strange tinge of disappointment. Gently, I carried her back to the bed and tucked her under the covers. After gathering my own things, I went to the door and called out softly. After what felt like ages, I heard footsteps approaching. It was a young woman's voice. "Brother-in-law, stop shouting. Tonight is your wedding night. As they say, an hour of spring is worth 1,000 gold pieces. Go on and spend a wonderful night with my sister." Hearing that from outside the door made my head buzz. Was that something a normal person would say? It sounded like Zhang Wanjun's younger sister. Does Zhang Wanjun even know her sister says such insane things? Ahem. I felt my face flush hot again. I glanced back at Zhang Wanjun sleeping soundly on the bed. The angel and devil on my shoulders had a brief, fierce argument, but in the end, I just let out a long sigh. Looks like I wasn't getting out of this room tonight. I didn't dare call Mom. Instead, I quickly sent a WeChat message, pulling an all-nighter at the internet cafe tonight. Then I immediately turned off my phone, too afraid to even see the reply. Exhaustion finally overwhelmed me. I slumped onto the table and quickly fell asleep. Apparently, I even dreamed, and it was about some pretty girl. I was lost deep within the sweet embrace of a dream, even drooling without realizing it. Hey there, pretty girl, don't go. Let's keep playing. Suddenly, a shiver ran down my spine, and I jolted awake. My head was pounding fiercely, and my whole body felt drained and weak. Just as I was sucking in a sharp breath against the throbbing pain, a cool voice drifted from behind me. "Had enough fun playing with your pretty girl?" I nearly imploded from sheer embarrassment. Had my pervy dream talk actually woken her up? I hastily wiped the drool from the corner of my mouth and scratched my head awkwardly. If I said, "We were studying," would you believe me? She sat on the bed, looking at me expressionlessly, as if to ask, "Do you even believe what you're saying?" Ahem. I felt even more awkward. Now that the alcohol had worn off, the embarrassment was utterly indescribable. "Why didn't you sleep on the bed?" The awkward silence hung in the air for a long moment before she seemed to sigh, asking with a hint of resentment. Well, I was at a loss, trying to explain, but she waved her hand, cutting me off. "Are you afraid I'd eat you alive?" Even though I drank yesterday, I was still clear-headed. Besides, we're married. Whether you admit it or not, you were the groom at the wedding. That's an established fact. You wouldn't be thinking of shirking your responsibility, would you? Seeing her deeply disappointed expression, I panicked even more. Responsibility? Responsibility for what? Nothing even happened between us. But then again, didn't what she just said imply that if I'd been a bit more proactive last night, maybe... No. How could I take advantage of someone in that state? I'm not that kind of person. I quickly snapped back to reality, suppressed the flutters in my heart, and decided I had to explain things clearly to her. When it came down to it, this whole thing was really just a misunderstanding. But I quickly found myself conflicted again. For me, having unknowingly walked into the wrong room, I thought she was my cousin, and I was just trying to help smooth things over. However, for her, after such a long silence, wasn't her eventual agreement a gamble too? That was a wedding in front of all our friends and family. To then tell them the next day that the wedding was fake, just a game, and the groom wasn't responsible? You have to understand, I was in the room all night without leaving. If I claimed nothing happened, who would believe me? They'd just think I was a scumbag who'd had his fill and then tried to bail. And for her, it would be a massive blow to her reputation. She might not be able to handle it, break down, and do something impulsive and irreversible. By then, it would be too late for regrets. As I hesitated, unsure what to say, Zhang Wanjun might have sensed something. She said she was going to take a shower first, and we could talk about things when she came out. I suddenly felt an immense sense of relief, nodded, and said nothing more. Sitting in the room, listening to the rush of water from the bathroom, this time my mind didn't wander. About half an hour later, I heard the bathroom door open. The moment I looked over, my eyes nearly popped out of my head. I don't know if she did it on purpose or if it was just how it happened, but she came out of the bathroom without any clothes on, just a bath towel draped around her, perfectly showcasing her figure. The way the towel clung to her, outlining her curves, was enough to send one's imagination into overdrive. It made you want to just snatch that towel away and glimpse the barely concealed mysteries beneath. This was practically an invitation to commit a crime. She was dabbing her dripping hair with a small towel, every movement so gentle, exuding feminine grace. For a guy like me, single for over 20 years, it was almost too much to handle. I couldn't stop myself from stealing a few more glances, swallowing hard. She seemed to notice my reaction, but didn't show any displeasure, merely asking nonchalantly, "All right, what did you want to say earlier? You can say it now." And nothing. My face was burning hot. My heart was pounding wildly. Her skin, fair and smooth, was flushed a delicate pink. Was it the lingering warmth from the shower, or was she also anticipating something? Anyway, she stood with her back to me, drying her hair, and neither of us spoke. We could hear our breathing growing heavier, louder. Knock, knock, knock. The sudden sound shattered the charged atmosphere in the room. Once again, I experienced what it felt like to have a bucket of cold water dumped on a blazing fire. I was practically about to die from frustration. A voice came from outside the door. It was the woman from last night. "Sis, brother-in-law, are you two up yet?" Hearing this, a wave of joy washed over me. Didn't this mean I could leave? I rushed over, ready to make my escape. She opened the door from outside, revealing an incredibly beautiful girl with a ponytail that bounced adorably. Her left hand was covering her eyes. Eyes off, pervert. With her left hand, she shoved a set of clothes into my hands. "I prepared these for you, new, and ironed." Before I could even react, she slammed the door shut and locked it. What was that supposed to mean? I was completely dumbfounded. Was she that afraid I'd run away? I felt speechless and frustrated. I even felt like crying, but there was nothing I could do. "Go take a shower too, and change into the clothes I got you." Hearing her say that just made me more annoyed. What was wrong with my clothes? Why did I have to? Suddenly, I caught a whiff of the clothes I was wearing, reeking of a pungent smell, a mix of alcohol, drinks, and sweat. It was incredibly sour. Okay, fine, I didn't need a shower, but as I picked up the clean clothes, ready to head into the bathroom, out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of a wedding photo hanging on the wall. It was her and the runaway groom. They looked like a perfect match, a handsome couple. Their auras were so well suited. And then it fully hit me. What was going on? I had to explain things clearly. It wasn't just about responsibility. The whole thing was a misunderstanding from the start. I couldn't let this continue. I couldn't waste her youth. So I went back and explained the whole thing from beginning to end. I told her how the two hotels' names were only one character different. The two brides' names were also only one character different. So it was his fault. He went to the wrong place and the wrong bride. And that's what caused the misunderstanding. After listening to my explanation, the atmosphere in the room became heavy and indescribably awkward and quiet. I wasn't sure if I was imagining it, but after hearing what I said, Zhang Wanjuan's calm face seemed to show a hint of bitterness and disappointment. "So, do you understand what I mean? This is just a misunderstanding," I asked tentatively, wanting to break the heavy, awkward atmosphere. She looked up at me, gazing at me for a moment, without answering. "Are you hungry? Let's go out for breakfast first." I felt anxious. Why couldn't she understand? I was about to say something more when I saw tears welling up in her calm eyes, clearly trying to suppress her emotions that were on the verge of collapse, and I couldn't help but recall what she said last night. Don't leave a woman when she needs you the most. Sigh. I couldn't help but soften again. She clearly understood, but she just didn't want to face reality. I didn't say anything more. After she changed, we walked out of the room together. It was only then that I realized I wasn't in a hotel anymore. I was in Zhang Wanjuan's house, and it was a big villa with a garden. I was shocked. As we walked down to the living room one after the other, I saw her parents sitting on the sofa, their expressions looking terrible, their faces full of fatigue. It seemed like they had aged 10 years overnight, and I couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. "Uncle and Auntie, good morning." I greeted them politely. Seeing us come down, Zhang's father's expression softened a little, while Zhang's mother forced a strained smile. "Why are you still calling us Uncle and Auntie? Didn't you marry our Wanjun yesterday?" Hearing this, I froze and subconsciously glanced at Zhang Wanjun. She was also looking at me, her eyes filled with a hint of panic, but she didn't say anything. So, I could only scratch my head awkwardly, deciding not to say anything else for now. Dad, Mom, good morning. After yesterday's shock, the elders were already in this state. If I told them, it was a misunderstanding now. So, before Zhang Wanjun made a statement, I could only cooperate with her and continue acting. Otherwise, the elders would be even more devastated when they found out the truth. Good child. The elderly couple's lips quivered and tears welled in their eyes. The smiles they forced were strained and pained, a heartbreaking sight. Now that you're married, you two need to build a good life together. It's all right to marry first and fall in love later. Zhang's mother took my hand. Her skin felt delicate, not what you'd expect for her age. I could also feel her struggling to control her emotions. Her hands were trembling slightly, and her eyes held a look I couldn't quite decipher. It made my heart ache with a sense of helplessness. Fate had played a cruel trick on Zhang Wanjun, and by stepping in to protect her at this moment, I had undoubtedly brought a ray of hope to their family in its darkest hour. Then, the elderly couple each handed me a red envelope. Seeing how thick and heavy they looked, I was utterly stunned and flustered. This must be tens of thousands. I'd never seen such a hefty red envelope. This isn't right, is it? I couldn't help but look towards Zhang Wanjun. Take it. It's from Mom and Dad. She finally spoke. The elderly couple were also watching me, and the pressure was mounting. I had no choice. I could only reach out and accept them. During breakfast, the couple asked a few simple questions about me, but they didn't press me or say much more. They had also prepared some gifts and asked Zhang Wanjun to inform my parents when she drove me back. I didn't refuse, nor did I say much. It was only when I stepped out of the grand villa that my taut nerves finally relaxed. Here, take these back. The two large red envelopes felt incredibly heavy in my pocket. I quickly tried to return the hot potato. She glanced at the envelopes I offered, then looked up at me, her expression shifting before she spoke. No need. You keep them. It's a token of my parents' goodwill, considered a welcoming gift. What welcoming gift? This is for their son-in-law, isn't it? I can't accept this. I hurriedly tried to stuff the envelopes back to her. Aren't you their son-in-law? We've already had the wedding. Her words left me completely floored. What? I was about to anxiously explain, but she cut me off. The driver's here. Seeing her walk toward the driver, I sighed again. I knew she didn't want to hear it. If it was a misunderstanding, then let it be a complete one. Even though I didn't know her well, having only met her today, her insistence on hiding the truth meant she was resigned to this mess. This wasn't just unfair to me, but to her as well. If her parents knew the truth. At this thought, I fell silent again. What are you spacing out for? Get in the car. She took the keys from the driver and, seeing me still rooted to the spot, frowned. No, it's fine. I could just get a taxi back. I quickly refused, though I'd agreed to cooperate with her. She looked displeased, slapped the car roof, and said coldly, I told you to get in. What's with all the nonsense? I was startled and didn't dare say another word. I hastily scrambled into the car and sat obediently in the passenger seat. Where do you live? Zhang Wanjun started the car and slowly drove out of the large, garden-equipped villa. I gave her my home address. After that, neither of us spoke, and the atmosphere in the car became quiet and oppressive. Several times, I secretly glanced at her. Her features were exquisite, and even with light makeup, she looked even more beautiful. This made me fantasize. How wonderful it would be if she were really my wife. Beautiful, rich, and a great figure. Unfortunately, the gap between our circumstances was too vast. She could only aim higher, not settle for less. A guy like me wasn't worthy of her. I didn't know what she was thinking. As I grew increasingly awkward and uncomfortable, we finally arrived at my old, shabby little residential complex. Staring at the dilapidated building before me, battered by the elements over decades, I finally snapped back to my senses. This was reality. Thanks. After the car stopped, I thanked her and got out. Unexpectedly, Zhang Wanjun also got out. She stood by the car, looking around at the surroundings, her elegant eyebrows furrowing slightly. Her reaction irked me a little, but I also knew it wasn't disgust, but rather that this place was simply outside her realm of experience. She lived in a grand villa with a garden. Her status and background were clearly not simple. She would hardly ever encounter an environment like this. Seeing I was about to leave, she hesitated for a few seconds, then quickly walked over, took my hand, and, as I watched in confusion, she said, We need to formally introduce ourselves. My name is Zhang Wanjun. Female, 27 years old, in good health, no bad habits, stable income, own a house and a car. When she deadpanned gender, female, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. This girl was just too adorable. Donghua and I had an arranged marriage set up by our parents, she explained. We've met less than 3 times in total. The plan was to get to know each other after the wedding, but since he's chosen to run off with another woman, the engagement is obviously off. You don't have to worry about him showing up as my fiancé to cause trouble for me or you. This marriage, maybe it was a misunderstanding on your part, or maybe you were just trying to help save me from embarrassment. But for me, agreeing to marry you was a carefully considered decision. I don't regret it. She gripped my hand tightly, and I could feel her trembling with nerves, but I could also see the sincerity in her eyes. It must have taken immense courage for her to say all that. I hope you'll reconsider. The fact that we're already married, she said. I'll give you 3 days. I'll wait for your call. With that, she pressed the large red envelope I'd hidden in the car along with a business card into my hand, then got in her car and drove away. Not until her car turned the corner and disappeared from sight did I snap out of my daze. My head buzzing, I started walking home. I had just opened the front door when Mom burst out of her room, brandishing a feather duster and looking furious. You little brat. How dare you show your face? Why didn't you just drop dead outside? Huh? I told you to go help at your cousin's wedding. Where did you run off to? If you wanted to embarrass your mother, you should have just said so. Those bridesmaids even asked where you were. You're killing me. She punctuated her words by whacking me with the feather duster, making me dodge and weave like a monkey. Stop hitting me, Mom. Stop. Let me explain. I really did go. I just went to the wrong place, believe it or not. I said, completely serious. After hearing my explanation and seeing my earnest expression, Mom, still holding the feather duster, gave me 2 more hard whacks. It sounded absurd, unbelievable, but then again, it did sound exactly like something I would do. Finally, she sighed helplessly. You airhead. As she spoke, she finally noticed the 2 brick-like red envelopes I was holding. What are these? She asked, reaching for them. Nothing. I quickly dodged her hand and scurried back to my room. I took a shower, collapsed comfortably onto my bed, and finally could catch up on some sleep. Still sleeping, Mom opened the door silently, standing beside my bed and glaring down at me. It nearly scared me right out of bed, but I didn't dare say a word. Get up and look. Your aunt sent this to me. It's the bridesmaid your cousin was going to introduce you to. Without waiting for an answer, she shoved the phone in my face. The woman in the photo wore light makeup and looked quite demure. Not stunningly beautiful, but easy on the eyes. If this were before, I would have definitely asked for her contact info right away. But now, my mind was completely filled with Zhang Wanjun's face, unfairly beautiful, with that touch of melancholy. I couldn't get her out of my head. I couldn't muster any interest in other beautiful women. Mom, let's not talk about this now. I'm tired. I burrowed deeper under the covers. Already so sleepy, I could barely keep my eyes open. You're going to be the death of me. Mom smacked the blankets irritably and stormed out of the room. Finally, I could get some proper sleep. I slept deeply, without dreams, but still felt drained when I woke up. When I opened my eyes, it was already past 3 in the afternoon. I saw a friend request notification on WeChat. Assuming Mom had given my contact info to that girl, I irritably planned to ignore it. But then I noticed the profile picture looked familiar. I tapped on it and saw it was Zhang Wanjun. The background was a vast ocean, and she was looking back over her shoulder in profile. Almost automatically, before I even realized what I was doing, I accepted the friend request. Seeing the friend added successfully notification, my mouth went dry, and for some reason, I felt really nervous. First, I checked her moments. It was set to only show posts from the last 6 months, but there was nothing. Blank. I opened her chat window. I wanted to say hi, but hesitated for ages, and silently deleted the draft. I waited for a long time, too, but no message came from her. I couldn't help but sigh, mocking myself. Maybe she was just being polite, and here you are, practically waiting on tenterhooks. You need to remember, you're not from the same world. Can you stop potentially bothering her? Maybe she only said she'd give me 3 days to think about it out of politeness, or to save face. Maybe she was hoping I'd get the hint and back off. Or perhaps, after 3 days, she'd just make up some other excuse, and that would be the end of it. Stop overthinking. And just as I'd suspected, 3 days flashed by after Zhang Wanjun added me on WeChat. She hadn't sent a single word. Thank goodness I have patience, otherwise I really would have been strung along like a fool. Thinking about this, I couldn't help letting out another deep sigh. What are you sighing about during dinner? Mom was getting really annoyed seeing me lately. She'd arranged blind dates I wouldn't go to, just moping around sighing. If I didn't know you stood her up, I'd think she was the one who wasn't interested in you. Sighing like that, what's wrong? Are you heartbroken or did your horse die? Why was she getting more and more outrageous? I quickly cut her off, Mom. I just skipped a blind date. It's not like I committed some capital crime. She shot me a fierce glare, then went on about whose family had grandchildren now, rambling until I was almost numb. Honestly, after being pressured about marriage for so long, I was pretty indifferent. Yeah, speaking of which, my state these past 2 days felt a lot like being heartbroken. No interest in doing anything, just clinging to my phone all day, hoping to see an unread message from certain someone. I felt incredibly down. Staying home felt suffocating, so I ended up calling my buddy, asking him out to grab some barbecue. Tiger, I began, once the barbecue was mostly served. I poured him a glass of beer, handed it over, and tentatively asked, "What do you think about me having a flash marriage with someone?" Puffed. Tiger sprayed out the beer he hadn't swallowed yet. Luckily, I reacted fast enough to dodge, or I'd have gotten a face full. Others at the barbecue stall looked over. I gave them an apologetic smile, indicating nothing was wrong, and handed Tiger a napkin. "Are you crazy or stupid?" Tiger wiped his mouth, staring at me in disbelief. He said seriously, "As your brother, let me tell you, marriage is a huge deal for life. It's not about just finding someone random to make do with. If she's a good woman, you luck out. But what if you run into a bad one? How exactly would you handle that, my friend? Let me tell you up front. If you need to fight a divorce case, don't come asking me for money to hire a lawyer." As he spoke, he poured me a glass of beer. I know. I grimaced, feeling a bit conflicted. But what if? What if she's even prettier than Lou Ife? Luckily, Tiger wasn't drinking. Otherwise, he definitely would have spat in my face. He hadn't even started drinking properly. How was I already sounding drunk? Have you played too much Genshin Impact and fried your brain? But speaking of flash marriage with a good woman versus a bad one, of course, I choose Lou Ife. He clearly thought I was joking, so I didn't say much more. After all, the whole situation was pretty unbelievable. Pathetically, I found myself thinking about Zhang Wanjun again. She really was gorgeous. Too bad I didn't sneak a picture. We didn't talk about it further after that. Just enjoyed the skewers and beer, shooting the breeze about everything under the sun. Couldn't be more relaxed. Suddenly, the already lively barbecue stall erupted with jeering and shouting, attracting a lot of attention. A group of rowdy young guys were heckling, and a delicate female voice choked out, "Lee's song. You gone too far. You asked me out tonight, not to confess your feelings, but to humiliate me? What do you take me for? You bastard." That voice sounded somewhat familiar. I squinted, focusing my eyes, and was instantly shocked again. It was her, Zhang Wanjuan's younger sister, Zhang Wanxiao. She was crying, completely breaking down. Across from her sat a young guy with bleached blonde hair, looking every bit the cocky young punk. He was lounging with one leg crossed over the other, radiating a couldn't-care-less attitude. "What else? You really think I'm into you? Take a good look in the mirror," he sneered. "I only called you out here to prove someone's actually into me. As for you, hit. Lee Song, you gone too far. You bastard." Amidst the jeering laughter of all those punks, Zhang Wanxiao felt a humiliation like she'd never known. To think he'd use her like that. Overwhelmed, she burst into tears and tried to leave. But a few other shirtless thugs blocked her way. "Hey there, little lady. You're already here. Wouldn't be right to leave so soon, would it?" Grinning sleazily, they sidled closer, and she went pale with fright. "WH, what do you want? I'm calling the cops." The other patrons at the barbecue stall saw what was happening, but just looked away, completely indifferent. This plunged Zhang Wanxiao deeper into despair and helplessness. Her eyes, pleading, turned to the punk named Li Song. But he just smirked, a cruel amusement in his eyes. Her heart plummeted into an icy abyss. Her desperate gaze swept over the other diners. Seeing everyone just stand by while a group of grown men bullied a defenseless girl, I saw red. It's fucking 2023. How can this shit still be happening? I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a beer bottle and roared, "What the hell are you doing? Call the cops." As I rushed over, Huzi whipped out his phone and swiftly dialed for the police. Brother-in-law. The little one saw it was me, and, as if spotting her savior, ran over crying and hid behind me. "Don't worry, I'm here." Why did that line sound so familiar? It felt like I'd said something similar to her older sister. Why was I thinking about her again? "Aish, where'd this old geezer come from? Scram, this ain't your business, or we'll beat you up too." The punks glared, their expressions hostile. Old geezer. My face instantly darkened. I raised the beer bottle, pointing it at them. "I'm warning you, don't try anything stupid. I've already called the cops. They'll be here soon." The cops, hearing me say that, a few of them got flustered and instinctively glanced at Li Song, who was still seated. However, He just curled his lip in a disdainful sneer, completely unfazed. Seeing this, one of his lackeys perked up. Damn it, you think I scare easy? With brotherly covering us, what's there to be afraid of? By the time the cops get here, we'll be done with you, he yelled, lunging forward to hit me. I immediately swung the beer bottle backhand and smashed it hard over his head without hesitation. Crack! The beer bottle shattered on his skull, and blood instantly streamed down his face. He stood there stunned, touched his head, saw the blood on his hand, and stared at me blankly, as if he couldn't believe I'd actually dared to strike. Then his eyes rolled back, and he fainted. The others froze for a second, then exploded in anger. You think you're something special, huh? Get him, boys. Waste this motherfucker. Several punks charged. I quickly pulled Zhang Wanxiu back, shielding her. Huzi, having finished the call, rushed forward. Who dares make a move? They weren't about to be intimidated. One of them raised a hand to hit Huzi, but was sent sprawling by a swift kick. Seeing this, I paused, then it hit me. You know why they call Huzi Tiger? Because he's got a ferocious personality. The type who never backs down from a fight. A few young punks like these were no match for him at all. Shielding Zhang Wanxiu, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Just then, I heard the little girl cry out in delighted surprise. Sis. Sis. Zhang Wanjun was here. Just as I'd started to relax, I tensed up all over again, suddenly flustered and at a loss for what to do. Swish, swish. Several bodyguards rushed out from behind, helping Huzi deal with the clueless thugs. Seeing they were outnumbered, the thugs didn't dare linger. They vanished without a trace before the police could arrive. Just then, Zhang Wanjun emerged from the shadows. Tonight, she wore a coat, cutting a striking figure. Sis, Zhang Wanxiu, terrified, threw herself into Zhang Wanjun's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. It's okay now. The iciness on Zhang Wanjun's face softened slightly as she held her younger sister, her heart aching for her. I was staring blankly at her. Just then, she looked up and our eyes met. Surprise flickered across her face. Her lips parted slightly, as if she was about to say something. I grew even more tense, but Huzi chose that moment to butt in. He blurted out, So, the little sister calls her sis? And then she calls you brother-in-law? Don't tell me she's the one you're planning to flash marry. MMPH. Before he could finish, a chill running down my spine, I clamped a hand over his mouth. Shut up. If you don't have anything sensible to say, don't say anything. But I had quietly admitted it. Yes, it was her. Whoa, buddy. You really hit the jackpot. Huzi whispered, covertly sizing up the exceptionally elegant Zhang Wanjun, practically splitting with jealousy. Quick, admit how damn lucky you are, or your bro won't sleep tonight. You know that saying about fearing your brother won't do well, but also fearing he'll do too well? That fit him perfectly right now. Sis, it's all thanks to brother-in-law this time. Otherwise, sobi. Zhang Wanxiu clung to her sister, tearfully recounting the ordeal through sniffles, giving me all the credit. Then Huzi leaned in and whispered something to her. They seemed to have reached some sort of agreement. They each gave Zhang Wanjun and me a little push, making us stumble unsteadily right into each other. I instinctively wrapped an arm around her slender waist. The feeling made my mouth go dry. Sis, say something. Brother-in-law saved me. Her little sister played wingman from behind. I'll take you home first, Zhang Wanjun said quickly, trying to pull away from my hold. Her sister frantically waved her hands. No need. Aren't the driver and the others here? Huzi chimed in perfectly. I'm Shinmo's buddy. Don't worry. I'll make sure your sister gets home safe. After saying this, the two exchanged a subtle, knowing glance. Before either Zhang Wanjun or I could respond, the two of them darted off as if afraid we'd call them back. Left standing there, I still had my arm around Zhang Wanjun's slim waist. A blush began to creep onto her usually cool features. Her faint fragrance drifted around my nose, feeling like a feather gently tickling my heart. It smelled absolutely wonderful. Maybe it was the alcohol, but I could feel my body gradually heating up, my heart pounding, my breathing growing heavy. The impulses and longing suppressed deep inside me felt like tigers breaking free from a cage, wildly assaulting my reason. Yet, she didn't seem to be resisting my arm around her waist. She just rested her hands symbolically against my chest, seemingly to maintain distance. But perhaps she was actually feeling my heartbeat. As it pounded faster and harder, the blush on her pretty face deepened, becoming as tempting as a ripe peach, making one desperately want to lean in and take a bite. However, I didn't do anything. Setting aside everything else, there were too many people watching. It was just too embarrassing. Then, she applied a little force and slipped out of my embrace. It looked decisive, but it felt more like a reluctant, half-hearted push, tinged with unwillingness. "Let's go. I'll take you home." She started to turn away, but after thinking for a couple of seconds, she hesitated, then actually reached out and took my hand. Feeling the warmth spreading from her palm into mine, I was stunned for a moment, then so thrilled I almost gasped out loud. The car sped through the city tonight, quickly bringing me back to the gate of my apartment complex. Sitting in the passenger seat, tipsy from the drinks, feeling both fuzzy and strangely clear-headed, I couldn't help but ask, "Why haven't you come looking for me these past few days?" Hearing my question, she visibly froze, then unbuckled her seatbelt. "You've had too much to drink." She walked around the front of the car, opened the passenger door, and leaned in to unbuckle my seatbelt. The sweet fragrance of her hair filled the air, leaving me momentarily dazed. "Why haven't you come looking for me?" I leaned close to her ear, blowing a gentle breath of warm air against her skin. Her pretty face instantly flushed crimson. Her hand paused on the seatbelt buckle. Head bowed, her waterfall of long hair cascaded over me as she spoke weakly. "That's what I should be asking. Why didn't you come find me?" Her voice was calm, but laced with a hint of bitterness. My head spun. Throwing caution to the wind, I pulled her into an embrace. She stumbled, losing her balance and falling against me. Like a docile little lamb, she buried her face in my chest, refusing to look up. After a moment's hesitation, she raised her arms, wrapping them around my neck and burrowing even deeper. I saw the blush on her pretty face spread all the way to the tips of her ears. She didn't say a word, but it spoke volumes. Fueled by the alcohol, my body grew hot. Hers felt a little cold. I tightened my grip, and she hugged me back just as fiercely, clearly enjoying the warmth of my embrace. I tried to warm her chill with my own heat, my hands staying respectfully still around her. But she seemed dissatisfied. She took my hands, lifting them, as if guiding me towards something. Under the influence, my mind grew hazy. All I remember is a dizzying sensation as my lips met something soft, cool, and faintly sweet. Had she kissed me? "I missed you too," an almost inaudible whisper, seemingly pouring out long-suppressed longing. My head started to clear. "What did you say?" Just like that, my question deflated the tender atmosphere we'd painstakingly built. Mortified, she struggled out of my arms, turning her head away so I couldn't see her face, flushed like a ripe peach ready to drip juice. "It's late. You should go." Oh, okay." A sudden emptiness filled my arms. The cold breeze snatched away the last vestiges of warmth, leaving me feeling dejected. I stood up and had only taken a few steps toward the complex gate when I heard her call softly from behind. "Don't you have anything you want to say?" Turning back, I saw her standing in the shadows. I couldn't make out her expression, but I could see her body trembling slightly. Was it fear, shyness, or anger? It was only then that I realized. Today was the third day. She'd given me 3 days to think, which was why she hadn't disturbed me. But actually, the moment she set that deadline, she had already made her decision. And here I was, still hesitating, delaying my answer. She's the girl. This is something I, as the man, should have initiated, yet I made her. The cold wind shocked me fully awake. I rushed back and pulled her fiercely into my arms, greedily inhaling her scent. "Were you waiting for my answer?" "I'm sorry. There's still 10 minutes left before the third day is over. It's not too late. Actually, I wanted to tell you. Maybe this whole misunderstanding was fate bringing us together. Maybe I'm not good enough for you right now. But please believe me, I will absolutely not let you down. And I promised you, I owe you a proper wedding." When she, holding back tears and on the verge of breaking down, had said, "Don't leave a woman when she needs you most," I knew then that she couldn't leave me. My decision to stay wasn't out of sympathy or pity for her, but because my thoughts were a mess, but I knew what I was doing, and I wouldn't regret tonight's decision. Okay. Her voice trembled as she hugged me tightly, burying her face in my shoulder. I couldn't tell if she was wiping away tears. Not long after, she went back inside. Even after showering and lying in bed, I still hadn't snapped out of the sweet tenderness of that moment. Memories flashed through my mind like a revolving lantern, replaying every moment between us, chasing away any hint of sleepiness. I wanted to slap myself. Why wasn't I more proactive earlier? Why did I always make the girl take the initiative? That's not how it should be. I quickly grabbed my phone, opened her WeChat, and agonized over what to message her. Buzz, a notification popped up. It was a message from Zhang Wanjun. Surprise and joy surged through me. I hurriedly opened it, and my blood ran cold. The message was brief, I have to go on a business trip. It'll be a few days if it's quick, a week if it's not. When I get back, we'll meet with your parents to discuss our marriage. I couldn't help but pout, a little disappointed and dejected. Didn't we just make things official tonight? And now I wouldn't see her for so many days? Damn it. I'd only just discovered what it was like to have a girl who was all soft and sweet-smelling. I thought I was finally going to taste sweet romance, but it turns out it was a long-distance relationship from the get-go. But then, I quickly pursed my lips into a smile. It was just a few days for a business trip. I'd see her when she got back, right? It seemed I'd celebrated too soon. On her business trip, Zhang Wanjun reverted to her old self, very cold. 2 days had passed, and aside from that one message, she hadn't said anything else to me. It really had a guy like me feeling insecure and on edge. The good mood I'd painstakingly built up over the past few days gradually cooled down in the face of her unresponsive silence. Gradually, I stopped caring as much. I had work to do, my life was moving on. It's just that sometimes in the middle of the night, I'd remember a few more days passed, and my parents dragged me to another relative's wedding. Why was someone getting married practically every day? The crucial thing was, I could not go. As long as they didn't try to set me up on some blind date, I was just there for the food period. At this wedding banquet, I finally saw her, my older cousin, the one who always took the blame for the trouble I caused when we were kids. It hadn't been easy to see her. She'd changed a lot since childhood. She'd really blossomed, just like the saying goes about how much girls change as they grow up. But there was still something familiar in her eyes and brow. I couldn't help but remember how I'd gone to the wrong hotel, barged into Zhang Wanjuan's wedding, and mistaken her for this cousin right here. So mortifying. My cousin-in-law was also a fine-looking man, spoke politely, and was very considerate of my cousin's feelings. A good man indeed. I couldn't resist teasing him. Cousin-in-law, you're truly blessed to marry such a wonderful woman like my cousin. Not at all, not at all. It's my good fortune that your cousin even considered me, he chuckled modestly. My cousin, a little shy but unable to hide the happy smile playing on her lips, shot me a playful glare. You little rascal. If only your mouth had been a little sweeter when you were a kid, I wouldn't have had to take the fall for you every single time. Honestly, during the meal, my cousin-in-law took great care of my cousin. Watching their sweet interactions, to be honest, I felt a little jealous. Unconsciously, I pulled out my phone and sent Zhang Wanjun a message. Are you back yet? I miss you. Time ticked by second. The message sank like a stone in the ocean, without a single ripple. Feeling a bit dejected, I unsent it. If she didn't see it, she didn't see it. Thinking about it, it was pretty embarrassing. I was acting no different from a desperate simp. Just as I was about to put my phone down, buzz, Zhang Wanjun replied, what did you say? It startled me so much my breathing hitched. Speechless, I rolled my eyes and didn't bother replying. Man, I was pouting so hard my lips were practically stuck that way. What's wrong? Trouble with your girlfriend? My cousin asked, noticing my expression wasn't quite right, and put a chicken drumstick in my bowl. Oh, it's nothing. We all go through it. Girls, you just have to coax them a bit. I poked at the food in my bowl and pouted. Girlfriend? What are you talking about? Don't even get me started. I was so frustrated. As the banquet was about to end, my cousin and cousin-in-law announced they were treating everyone to a private room they'd booked for karaoke, so everyone could sing and relax. I was originally planning to find an excuse to slip away, but Mom, annoyed, stopped me. She said something about how we're all family, cousins, and I should show some respect by going. Consider it making up for not attending their wedding a few days ago. Well, that settled it. Since you put it that way, I couldn't really say no. However, I had already made plans with Huzi, precisely to avoid this kind of situation. But when my cousin and her husband heard, they didn't mind and said to just invite Huzi over too, so we could all hang out together. Wouldn't that be fun? Before we left, Mom said with a grin, have fun, okay? Those are all your cousin's friends. Behave yourself and don't leave a bad impression. Bad impression? It suddenly hit me, and I was speechless. No wonder my cousin and Mom were exchanging those knowing glances earlier. So that's what it was. You can run, but you can't hide. I've been tricked by them after all. It was too late to try and escape. My cousin-in-law had already practically dragged and shoved me into the car. Soon, we arrived at the reserve club. When we walked into the private room, a few people were already waiting. My cousin enthusiastically introduced me to them. This is my younger cousin, Chinamo. I watch him grow up. Pretty handsome, isn't he? Hey, you look much better in person than in your photos. A few girls in the private room eyed me up and down with smiles, making me feel pretty awkward. Jingwen, my cousin's a bit shy and not much of a talker, so please look after him, okay? My cousin pushed me further into the room, whether I liked it or not. I glanced at the girl named Jean Wynn. Why did she look so familiar? Oh, right. Wasn't she one of the bridesmaids in the photos Mom showed me? They totally sold me out. Hi. I managed an awkward greeting, then lower my voice to my cousin. Look, honestly, I actually have a girlfriend. We're planning to get married soon, so you don't need to introduce me to anyone. I hadn't said it that loudly, but loud enough for both my cousin and Jean Wynn to hear. They both stared, stunned for a moment. Then my cousin slapped my arm, annoyed. What nonsense are you talking? Your mom told me you've been single forever. Where did this girlfriend suddenly come from, talking about marriage? Seriously, why are you being such a jerk? You're just saying that to get out of this blind date, right? Jean Wyn's one of my best friends. She won't bite, she said, trying to push me towards Jean Wyn again. Talk about awkward. I didn't dare say much more, just slumped down on the edge of the sofa, grimacing awkwardly. Even Jean Wyn looked unsure what to say, her expression a little strained. Perfect timing. Hoosie pushed the door open and walked in. I quickly waved him over, pulling him down to sit between us. Hoosie, being the straightforward, boisterous guy he is, started chatting easily. Soon enough, he and Jean Wyn were deep in conversation. The two of them hit it off, getting more and more animated, completely forgetting about me, the supposed main event. I was actually quite relieved. The only problem was the look my cousin kept shooting me. It sent shivers down my spine. Later, when everyone was tired from playing, we went out for a meal. Throughout dinner, my cousin kept trying to push Jean Wyn and me together, but I really wasn't interested and let Hoosie run interference for me. He seemed happy enough to chat with her, making her giggle constantly, and she didn't seem to mind either. All the while, I could feel my cousin's glare. She looked like she wanted to skin me alive right then and there. After eating our fill, nobody felt like calling it a night yet, so we found a bar to keep the party going. I started getting into it too. It would have been even better if my cousin hadn't constantly tried to create opportunities for me and Jean Wyn. Jean Wyn, what are you two doing just standing there? Come hit the dance floor. Wiles come to a bar. She was out again, manufacturing alone time for us. She grabbed both our arms and started pulling us toward the dance floor. I figured this couldn't go on. If there's no spark, there's no spark. You can't force these things. So, I decided to just lay my cards on the table with Jean Wyn. Come here, I need to talk to you. The bar music was loud. I practically had to shout. I have something to tell you too. Jean Wyn paused, then suggested I go first. You go first. I insisted, being chivalrous. I leaned my ear closer. It was way too noisy otherwise. Well, actually, Jean Wyn started acting a bit shy, a blush creeping on her face. My heart skipped a beat. Oh crap, don't tell me she actually fell for me. No. I had to get out of here. Just as I was getting ahead of myself and planning my escape, I heard her whisper close to my ear, almost too shy to get the words out. I'm sorry, Chinamo. I do think you're nice, and I know I was supposed to get to know you. But I think I clicked more with your friend, Hoosie. Sorry. With that, she pressed her palms together in an apologetic smile, then jogged off the dance floor, waving at Hoosie, who was busy picking at the fruit platter. I stood there, frozen for a few seconds before it sank in, feeling utterly embarrassed by my earlier self-importance. I shot Hoosie a look. Nice one, buddy. As long as she wasn't into me, it was all good. Mom, cousin, this really wasn't my fault, okay? I let out a massive sigh of relief. Finally, I could find a chance to slip away. But just then, my phone vibrated in my pocket. A message notification. It was from Zhang Wanjun. What are you doing? Why the sudden message? I was a bit confused, but quickly typed back. At home, about to sleep. Holy crap. You really can't blame me for lying. I couldn't exactly tell her, hey, instead of being home asleep late at night, I'm actually at a bar on a blind date. Who knew she'd reply instantly? Since when is your home located in a bar? You couldn't really sense much emotion between the lines, but I broke out in a cold sweat and quickly looked up, scanning the area. My gut screamed danger. That woman, she was nearby, right now, and she was pissed. Sure enough, the moment I looked up, I saw her standing at the entrance of the bar, putting down her phone with an icy expression. I'm screwed. Busted. Wasn't she supposed to be on a business trip? Why is she back so suddenly? And she caught me red-handed. I was so shocked I almost bit my tongue. I scrambled towards her, but she just turned, expressionless, and walked out of the bar. By the time I chased after her, Zhang Wanjun was just getting into her car. I managed to dive into the passenger seat just a second before she could drive off. Why are you leaving so fast? It's not what it looks like. I said, desperate to explain. Then what is it like? Her expression was frigid, her tone just as cold. She didn't even glance at me. I floundered, realizing I had no comeback. After all, I had lied first. Weren't you supposed to be back in a few days? I asked weakly. Lucky for me, I came back early. She still didn't look at me, her icy tone seeming to imply, "Otherwise, I wouldn't have known you were lying to me." Ahem. I almost choked, remembering what my cousin had said. Girls are easy to coax. I tentatively hooked my finger around hers, which was resting on the gear stick. When she didn't resist, I got bolder. I laced our fingers together. Her palm felt a little cold. Just as I was about to say something, she cut me off. "I was originally planning to come back the day after tomorrow, but this afternoon I saw your message," saying. As she spoke, a faint blush crept onto her cold face. She trailed off, and I knew instantly. She'd seen that message from the afternoon, but her expression was still frosty, clearly angry about my lie. I quickly apologized, saying it wasn't intentional. A warm feeling spread through me. So, does this mean she knew I was thinking about her and rushed back from out of town right away? At the same time, I felt a pang of embarrassed shame. I told her I was home, but I was actually at a bar with another woman, even though nothing happened with that woman. But she still saw, and I really had lied to her. How do I fix this? I'm panicking here. Listen, let me explain, really. Can you believe it? A grown man, actually trying to wheedle. I almost made myself sick, but I saw the frost in her eyes thawing slightly. So I doubled down, obediently admitting my mistake, explaining the whole situation from beginning to end. After listening, she didn't react, and the car stopped at the entrance to our apartment complex. I instinctively leaned in to hug her, but she raised a cold hand and pushed my face away. "It's late. You should go get some rest." By the time I processed what happened, she had already driven off. A gust of cold wind hit me, making me shiver. Suddenly, I felt utterly frozen, chilled to the bone. What's wrong with this woman? Didn't I already apologize and admit I was wrong? It wasn't on purpose. I was set up. I'm a victim here too, okay? Muttering curses, I kicked a dead branch on the roadside. Dejected, I dragged my exhausted body home. She didn't message me back either. The next day, at the milk tea shop, me, Jean Wanchio, and Hu Zi, the three of us were just staring at each other. I was the one who called them out. There was something I couldn't figure out. How did Zhang Wanju know exactly where I was? "You too. Got anything to tell me?" My tone turned icy. They both flinched, grinning sheepishly. "Oh well, that one's on me. Just as I thought. They sold me out." We'd exchanged contact info after that incident last time. As far as Zhang Wanchio was concerned, even though I was her brother-in-law, it was more like a brother-in-law by circumstance. Setting aside everything else, she barely knew what kind of person I was. So, naturally, she tried to find out from my best buddy, and Huzi, being the straightforward, sometimes tactless guy he is. Well, he posted on his socials from the bar last night and happened to catch me in the background. And the biggest coincidence? Zhang Wanchio was picking up her sister, Zhang Wanjun, from the airport, and she saw Huzi's post with me in it. So she asked for the address. Huzi, thinking Zhang Wanchio just wanted to come hang out, didn't hesitate to sell his brother out. After hearing the explanation, I was furious, glaring at Huzi until he hung his head. "Sorry, Bromo, how was I supposed to know?" He mumbled, then shot a glare at the equally innocent-looking Zhang Wanchio. She quickly waved her hands, shaking her head. "Don't blame me, brother-in-law. If you hadn't gone to the bar, if you hadn't lied, this wouldn't have happened, right? Why did you have to lie?" Okay, this girl really knew how to twist a knife. Her words shut me right down. I let out a deep, helpless sigh. "Great. Now your sister's mad and ignoring me. What am I supposed to do? Actually, brother-in-law, I think you should be secretly happy. The angrier sis gets, the more it proves she cares about you." "Oh, how do you figure that?" I leaned in closer, eager to hear her reasoning. "No wonder you didn't have a girlfriend before you met my sister." Zhang Wanchio rolled her eyes. "Think about it. If it were you, and you saw my sister at a bar, laughing and chatting intimately with some guy, wouldn't you be mad?" "Damn right I'd be mad," I thought. "I'd charge right over and knock that guy flat. How dare he touch him, why woman?" "See?" Zhang Wanchio took a sip of her bubble tea. "But my sister is calmer. She wouldn't actually hit anyone. Get it? Huh, I guess that makes sense." Huzi and I looked at each other, completely mind-blown. We never thought about it that way. Still puzzled, I asked, "So, you're saying your sister really cares about me? Does she, like me?" I felt a little shameless asking that. "Brother-in-law," she drawled the title, emphasizing it with a teasing smile. "What do you think? If my sister wasn't okay with you, do you think I'd be sitting here shooting the breeze with you guys right now?" Hearing that, the frustration in my chest instantly dissolved, replaced by a secret, giddy joy. But I quickly reined myself in. All told, Zhang Wanjun and I had only known each other for about a week. To talk about, already felt incredibly unrealistic. TCH, what's the big deal? Look at him. She suddenly glanced at Huzi, who was grinning foolishly at his phone. When he noticed us looking, he quickly put it away, coughing awkwardly. He went official on his socials last night. You're still young, what do you know? Huzi retorted defensively. It was love at first sight. I was completely stunned. Dude, you and Jingwenzi are together. Talk about moving fast. Didn't you just meet last night? Huzi just scratched his head awkwardly, leaving me speechless. Look at that child. Silly look. Wasn't he afraid of getting played? I know my sister best, and based on what you've told me. Zhang Wanxiu, our little strategist, continued. For her to take the initiative to talk to you like that, and even let you hold her, that would have been absolutely impossible for her before. Also, on the wedding day, when the groom ran off with another woman, you stepped up and said, if the groom won't marry her, you will. Honestly, given my sister's personality and how she handles things, she could have dealt with the problem perfectly fine without your help. Yet, after hesitating for a long time, she finally agreed to your proposal. That means she considered all the risks. She was willing to accept the risk that came with you, a stranger, essentially gambling that she wouldn't lose badly this time. I wouldn't dare say my sister fell for you at first sight, too. But, at the very least, apart from not having the official marriage certificate yet, you two are already husband and wife in practice, if not yet on paper. Really, I was completely taken aback by what this little girl said, a smirk playing on my lips. You're my brother-in-law. Why would I lie to you? Zhang Wanxiu patted my shoulder. Don't worry. Leave my sister to me. Holy crap. What a beautiful and kind-hearted sister-in-law. I'm counting on you then. I didn't stand on ceremony either, seeing as she called me brother-in-law. Missy, whatever catches your eye today, just let me know. All expenses are on me. Young Master Qin. This made the little one exclaim, brother-in-law is the best. Then she proceeded to totally fleece me. Although it stung the wall a bit, I didn't really mind and headed home happy and cheerful. Oh, in such a good mood? Did you hit it off with Jingwen? Seeing me come home humming a tune, Mom came over, smiling cheerfully. My heart instantly sank. Crap, I forgot to tell her about Zhang Wanjun. I stammered a bit, not knowing what to say. Oh, dating someone and keeping secrets even from your mom? It's not like I don't know that Jingwen girl. I saw her profile too. She seems quite good. If you two hit it off, we can arrange to meet her parents some other day, aim to get married by the end of the year, and next year have a grandchild. How is this getting more and more outrageous? I quickly interrupted. Mom, listen to me. Jingwen wasn't interested in me. She likes Uzi. They're together now. What? Mom froze for a second, then started stomping her feet anxiously, searching the room for the feather duster. You little bastard. I raised you for nothing. I'm going to kill you today. That was the wife I arranged for you. You gave her to Huzi? Why don't you just call him Dad and be his son instead? Just kill me with anger already. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. Mom. She chased me around the room with the feather duster until I finally found a chance to duck into my room and lock the door, narrowly escaping the ordeal. She yelled from outside. Stay in there if you have the guts. You're making me so mad. She stood outside the door, wishing me good health for several minutes before finally cursing and walking away. Early the next morning, I hesitantly opened the door to see her sitting in the living room with a stern face. I cleared my throat twice. Mom, actually, I want to tell you yesterday. I already had a flash marriage with someone. We just haven't registered it yet. What nonsense are you spouting so early in the morning? Flash marriage? With you? Must be blind. She scoffed dismissively, clearly not believing a word. Making up such crap just to avoid a blind date. Think you've grown wings now, huh, kid? Saying this, she moved to hit me again, and I quickly ducked back into my room. It's true. I'm not lying. Come out. See if I don't beat you. Mom yelled from outside the door, leaving me trembling in fear. Why couldn't I make her understand? Ding dong. The sudden ringing of the doorbell saved me from the depths of hell. Who is it? Mom muttered a curse at me before going to open the door. Hello, Aunt? I'm Qin Mo's girlfriend. A very pleasant voice sounded from outside. Hiding in my room, I instantly recognized it. It was Zhang Wanjun. Why was she here? Wait, no. Did she say she's my girlfriend? What did you just say? My mom didn't seem to hear clearly. Opening the door, she saw a graceful and beautiful young woman. Even Mom couldn't help but stare, only snapping back to reality after a good moment. Miss, what did you say you were to my son Qin and Mo just now? Hello, Auntie. Zhang Wanjun, outside the door, glanced into the room, her eyes happening to meet mine as I peeked out from my room. A gentle smile bloomed on her face as she solemnly reintroduced herself. To be precise, I am Qin Mo's fiancé. My name is Zhang Wanjun. A fiancé. My mom became flustered and incoherent, stammering several times. Quick, quick, please come in. She shot an annoyed glare at me peeking out. You brat, get out here and greet our guest. Fiancé, how could she not know? I pouted innocently. Didn't I just tell you? Whose fault is it if you didn't believe me? Zhang Wanjun had brought quite a few things with her this time, all expensive health supplements, which made my mom feel a bit embarrassed. Wait, did you just say you're my son's fiancé? How come I've never heard anything about this? Yes, ma'am. We got married quite suddenly. We just haven't made it official legally yet. Her story matches mine. Mom was getting wary. Could this be some kind of setup? But looking at this gorgeous girl, she didn't seem like a scammer. What on earth did she see in my son anyway? Mom, I brought over a glass of water, just in time to hear her muttering. Any louder, and the neighbors upstairs and down would hear everything. Zhang Wanjun didn't get angry. She just smiled softly, showing Mom complete respect, answering every question honestly without holding anything back. It had barely been 15 minutes. How many people were in her family? What they did? Mom had already grilled her on every little detail. Seeing Mom grinning from ear to ear, her face flushed, it was obvious she was completely smitten with this sudden daughter-in-law. Since you're already married, why haven't you registered it? Go on, go register today. I hadn't even noticed when she dug out our household register. Seeing Zhang Wanjun look a little overwhelmed, I had to jump in. Mom, calm down. You're going to scare her off. Oh, right. Huh. Wanjun dear, don't mind me being so eager, huh? It's just, Mom scratched her head, embarrassed. We really should have been the ones to visit you first. Having you, a young lady, come to our place like this, it's a bit. It was all so sudden today. My husband isn't home, and we didn't prepare anything. Please don't mind how simple things are. Zhang Wanjun didn't seem to mind at all. She nodded. It's okay, ma'am. I mainly just wanted to let you know that Chinamo and I are married now, so you don't need to arrange any more blind dates for him. As she said this, she narrowed her eyes slightly, shooting me a look that made even Mom blush. Yes, seeing Mom look so awkward felt like sweet revenge. That beating she gave me yesterday still faintly ached. Go on. You two chat. And if you have time, go get registered today. Before I could even process it, she'd shoved the household register in my hand and pushed both me and Zhang Wanjun out the door. Then we heard her starting to make excited phone calls inside, her loud laughter making both of us blush. Sorry about that. My mom's just like that. She didn't scare you, did she? Not all. Your mom's actually quite sweet. I like her. Zhang Wanjun smiled softly, then turned the question back to me. I showed up without warning, though. You don't mind, do you? I quickly shook my head. Of course not. I had more to say, but she cut in. My sister told me. She started walking down the stairs. Told you what? I suddenly felt nervous. To appease that little strategist, her sister, I'd really shelled out yesterday. I didn't expect results this fast, showing up at my door the very next day. But she just shook her head and smiled at me. It's a secret. I'm not telling you. She added, and I wasn't angry before. I was just feeling something else. Feeling what? She had driven herself here today. I sat in the passenger seat, watching her confused. If it wasn't anger, then what? I don't know. It's a feeling I don't understand. Like pressure, making it hard to breathe. She bit her lip, glanced at me, then suddenly leaned over and pressed her lips against mine. Feeling that cool softness, my eyes flew wide in disbelief. She'd actually kissed me again, on her own initiative. Flustered, I raised my arms and held her. She hugged me back even tighter, resting her head on my shoulder and nibbling my earlobe as she spoke. When I saw you being close with that other woman, it felt like a knife twisting in my heart. I felt like I trusted the wrong person. Like I shouldn't have trusted you. That all men are the same. You. The warmth spreading from my earlobe sent shivers down my spine, like tiny ants crawling over my skin. My sister talked to me. I believe you. You won't lie to me, will you? She suddenly lifted her head, her eyes locking with mine at close range. Her warm breath on my face made my heart race. No. My answer was simple. I leaned in a little closer, wondering what I was hesitating for. The next moment, I pressed myself against her too. So, do you like me? I asked, my heart pounding, finally voicing the question buried deep inside. I don't know either. Whether I like you, or rather, I don't know what liking someone feels like. Hearing her say that, my heart sank. I can't even describe how disappointed I felt. If you don't like me, then why kiss me? Why hold me? Are you just toying with me? The next moment, she answered, cupping my face. Her expression was still cold, but a blush had crept all the way to her ears, making her look like a shy kitten. I only know I don't want to leave you. I want to be with you, and I can't stand the thought of other women getting close to you. You are mine. She bit her lip as she forced the word out, incredibly shy, then didn't dare lift her head to meet my eyes. So, promise me from now on, you won't lie to me again. I didn't answer her question. Instead, I held the household registration book right in front of her eyes. City Hall hasn't closed yet. Why don't we go get the license first? She buried her head in my chest. Although she didn't answer, I could feel her trembling, a tremor she gradually couldn't suppress as tears started to fall. 15 minutes later, we walked out of City Hall, each holding a little red marriage certificate. That's right, we were officially married. After getting the certificates, we went back to see her parents. We exchanged simple greetings, had a meal, and left again. This time, the home we returned to was her home, our home. As soon as we got inside, I pulled her into an embrace, but she blushed bright red and scurried away without a word. I didn't push things further. Honestly, it had all happened so fast. I was worried she couldn't handle it. Normally, she'd be the one to cuddle up against me, but whenever I tried to take things a step further, she'd always blush furiously and dash off. It was driving me crazy. What was this woman doing? Always getting me worked up until I was about to explode, only to run away herself, then come back again a little while later. It left me itching with frustration. I drop hints now and then, but I never knew if she understood or not. She just gave no reaction. Damn, she was perfectly eager to hug me. But when it came to taking clothes off, she just sighed. Nothing I could do. If she wasn't willing, I couldn't force her. One day, we were cuddling on the bed. Just like always, when we got to the crucial point, she tried to run off again. Right then, my mom called. Slightly annoyed, I picked up. You brat, something just occurred to me. How could a girl as wonderful as Wanjun have her groom run off? Mom asked. There's nothing wrong with her looks or anything. I don't mean anything by it. I just think maybe Wanjun, cough cough, has some kind of issue. And that's why. I shot upright, quickly hanging up the phone, staring blankly at Zhang Wanjun, who was sitting on the edge of the bed with her back to me. Crap. Awkward. So damn awkward. How was I supposed to know Mom would say something like that? Now she'd heard everything. After a moment's silence, she turned back to look at me, the blush still lingering on her face. She asked hesitantly, finding the words difficult. Do you really want to? Damn, was that something you could just ask directly? But I didn't back down, seizing the opportunity and nodding decisively. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes gradually glazed over, and tears welled up again. Seeing this, my nose stung. I suddenly understood why she'd always kept our interactions at arm's length, why she never dared to go further. I reached out instinctively, pulling her into my arms. It's okay. If you don't want to, we don't have to. But she raised a fingertip, pressing it against my lips, and gently shook her head. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm just a little scared. Trust me, okay? We've had the wedding, we're registered, we're legally husband and wife now. Besides, we've met both sets of parents. We've met each other's friends and family. I know you're terrified of that kind of thing happening again, but you have to trust me, all right? By the end, tears were streaming down her face. She hugged me tightly, nodding forcefully. I'm sorry, I'm scared. Don't worry, I'm here. I'll protect you from now on. I held her gently, making no other moves, but she grabbed my hand, pushed me firmly onto the bed, and started kissing me passionately. This time, she didn't pull away. Even though taking the initiative like this made her feel incredibly shy, she knew she really liked the man in front of her. I did my best to cooperate, trying my utmost not to hurt her. But when it came to that moment, the pain still brought tears to her eyes, and she clung to me tightly. I held her just as tightly in return. The result was, the next day, she was perfectly fine to go to work. Meanwhile, I was lying in bed, completely unable to get up. Mom called again. I didn't tell her directly, just dropped a few hints. How could I possibly say something like that out loud? Thankfully, Mom wasn't born yesterday. She understood immediately, letting out a hearty laugh, and saying she was looking forward to holding a grandchild soon. I was left speechless. When I got off work that weekend, I went home for a visit. I happened to see Mom in the community square, vividly telling the neighbors how wonderful and outstanding her daughter-in-law was. This prompted a flood of blessings from the neighbors, all expressing hope to be celebrating with wedding favors soon. Only one person sounded skeptical and passive-aggressive. That woman never got along with Mom and retorted sharply. You make her sound like a goddess, but maybe your son's just stringing you along. If you're so sure, have him bring her over for us all to see. Yep. Mom's face darkened. Just as she was about to fire back, she saw me walk over and called out, Why are you back alone today? Where's Wanjun? She's coming tomorrow. We had arranged it for tomorrow. She was coming to my house to formally propose marriage. Yes, she was proposing to me. I was basically marrying into her family. But it wasn't a big deal. It's the custom here. If the woman's family is better off than the man's, they present the betrothal gifts to the man's family first. Of course, we give gifts in return later. It's just a matter of who goes first. The next day, 2 large trucks pulled into the community. All sorts of expensive gifts filled the entire corridor. The neighbors were stunned. This had to be worth well over 100,000, right? Which family was making such a grand display? Zhang Wanjun's parents stepped out of the car, looking refreshed and cheerful today, the shadows of past unhappiness completely gone. They walked straight to our apartment and, in front of many neighbors, said to my parents, "In-laws, just a few humble gifts. Please don't mind our forwardness. We've come today to formally propose." "Not at all, not at all. We should have been the ones visiting you. How could we let the bride's family come to propose?" My parents were grinning from ear to ear. Under the envious gazes of the other neighbors, they ushered Zhang Wanjun's parents inside. Meanwhile, Wanjun directed people to unload the gifts from the 2 trucks. Then, she personally went door to door, handing out presents to the neighbors. 2 cartons of cigarettes and 2 bottles of good liquor each, easily worth over 1,000 yuan. Seeing this made my heart ache, so extravagant. Compared to this, I really did seem like the guy marrying into money, but I didn't care what anyone else whispered. "Hello everyone," Wanjun said warmly. "I'm Chimo's wife. Thank you all for being such good neighbors over the years. Please accept this small token of our appreciation." Being so generous, plus being so beautiful and speaking so sweetly, made the neighbors beam. They showered my mom with praise for having such a good son, and, indeed, such a wonderful daughter-in-law. Thumbs up were given all around, praising Wanjun until she blushed. Even the woman who'd always clashed with my mom had done a complete 180, showering us with compliments as if they cost nothing. Soon, both our parents had finalized the wedding arrangements. Even though we'd already registered our marriage, we still needed to go through the motions, you know? Zhang Wanjun felt that since we'd already had one wedding ceremony, there was no need for another. But I wasn't having it. I'd promised her a magnificent wedding. This time, there'd be no need for gifts or anything like that, just our close family and friends getting together for a meal. That, I felt, would finally give her a true sense of security. Hearing me say this, Zhang Wanjun blushed. Even her parents couldn't help but give me another look, their eyes filled with approval. Their daughter had suffered so much, they believed. This time, her hardship was truly over, and she wouldn't be hurt again. Soon, the chosen day arrived. Zhang Wanjun and I personally oversaw and designed every aspect of the wedding setup. Every detail was something she loved. She even secretly told me it was the first time she'd ever truly felt loved and cherished. This strengthened my resolve. I had to take good care of her. I couldn't disappoint her, and I would never leave her side when she needed me. Even though we'd said gifts weren't necessary, the friends and family who attended still brought some. Both sets of our parents were busy hosting, and though they must have been tired, their faces were beaming with gratified smiles. This time, the wedding went incredibly smoothly, without any hitches, and she wore a blissful smile throughout. In the days that followed, when her parents learned we were about to leave for our honeymoon, they quickly sent over a load of traditional nourishing herbs like angelica root, goji berries, and ginseng. Clearly, they were hinting I should, get to work and give them a grandchild soon. My mom didn't waste any time either. She called me right up, not caring a whit that Zhang Wanjun was right beside me, and asked, "So, when are you planning to put having a baby on the agenda?" Ahem. Every time this topic came up, I get incredibly embarrassed and quickly try to gloss over it. However, when it was brought up this time, Zhang Wanjun gently snuggled into my embrace and whispered shyly, "Well, why don't we listen to our parents this time?" I was a bit stunned. "You mean, about having a baby?" I asked. "I want to be a mom too," she said. "Great, then we'll do as you say." She bashfully buried her head in my chest, and I didn't waste a moment, scooping her up and heading straight for the bedroom.